Hi everybody, it's Cori at the Reset Girl. I have not done that in a while. Hello and welcome to 2023 and the Pocket Art Challenge. I'm so excited for this challenge. But I am filled with trepidation at this moment because I realize it has been so long since I have uploaded content to my YouTube channel. I've been so neglectful of this channel and I'm really nervous about coming back. I'm going to be completely honest here. So I kind of feel like a big driver of this challenge for me was more personal. One, I wanted to really keep myself accountable to creating every single week, being crafty, creative, and I wanted to have something that would kind of encourage me to upload to my YouTube channel. So here we are, and I'm inviting you along on this adventure. So the Pocket Art Challenge, I hope, feels like an easy, very simple, very enjoyable kind of challenge. We are talking about a total of 13 prompts on our little printable here, and the details for joining me, if you had missed all the hoopla, if you are not on our newsletter list and do not realize, hey, there's a challenge going on, all the details are in the description box below, so you can sign up. It's very simple. You just plug your little email into the I want in page, and it will just immediately hand them over. You give me your email and I will give you the prompts. Does that sound fair? Okay, so before I jump into my actual creating for week one, I just wanted to kind of mention a couple things and kind of help you alleviate any fear or concern you might have that you have to do it right or there's a certain way to do it. So the bottom line is I created this challenge because I happen to love pockets. I love pockets. I have lots of pockets. I'm talking about the kind of scrapbook style pockets that were widely available for a long time. So I don't look at pocket pages as a memory keeping activity. I see it more like curating different things, creating layouts that really are based on things like color or pattern, just making something that's very pleasing to the eye. So as we go along over the weeks, I hope that I will be able to kind of share that, be able to articulate and explain that to you, and perhaps get you to see pockets differently. So, and I'm a little rusty at the whole crafting thing, so it might take me a little while to get into my groove, and for you too, it might take you a little while. So don't put pressure on yourself that you got to come out of the gate just, being like an artiste, because you don't. We're all going to find our little groove, and you're going to start finding something that you enjoy, because if we stay consistent with one type of a challenge, a kind of like pathway, if you will, where we're just kind of making these very small pieces of art, at some point you might kind of bump into a passion of yours along the journey. That would be wonderful. That's what I hope happens for me. One thing I can tell you is prepping your supplies in advance is going to save you a lot of time. Some parts of this project I think are kind of tedious, and I like to do those things in advance so that I can spend more time on the creating aspect. I am going to do a separate video with all of curating a bunch of tips for you on that, showing you how I do some of these little shortcuts, hacks, if you will. I'm showing you the the key component of my success in doing projects like this is having pre-cut paper. So I kind of assessed what kind of pocket pages I have to work with, so I know what basic sizes I have. And so I have this is from previous projects, but I have all these little sections of paper that I've already pre-cut. These are like little 3x3 squares. Then I have 3x4s. Some of these are like photos that I took for like camp and, doing the different other little craft projects that we do during the year. So I have, more of like journal card type cards. And then I have the type that you would actually write on. I guess I should call these I call these more like pocket cards, where they're just more like art. And then these are the journal cards. So I misspoke. And I have a lot. I do. I have a lot, as we probably all do. So this is a great project to try to use up some of these, the journal cards, the scrapbook paper. Scrapbook paper, I feel like, is you get so much value out of it because there's so many things you can do with it besides just using it as a background. Cutting it up into pieces, you are turning it into a canvas. This was a 12 by 12 sheet at one point in its life, and it turned itself into many squares and rectangles, and I've gotten a lot of mileage out of that one sheet, and sometimes sheets can be very inexpensive. So these now are just a bunch of rectangles, little canvases, and how you cut them can often lend itself to like giving you an even more interesting canvas to work with. So I'll go over all of that in a separate upcoming video where I'll spend more time just pointing out some of the fine details of like how you want to cut things, and there's just so many benefits to having your supplies kind of set up for you so that this makes for a more enjoyable process, and you're not doing some of the tedious work every single time you sit down to do it. So I cannot encourage you enough, my crafty sister, to set yourself up for success, because we have a whole year of this, and you want to go ahead and create yourself some little supplies box. Now this box is actually a box that came, my Bible, one of my Bibles came in this, and the box that I set inside of it held a pocket-sized Webster Pages little pocket-sized notebook. So I put my boxes to work, and I asked them to be kind of like super twins here and kind of corral supplies together. I have stickers, all kinds of stickers, and ephemera. I actually have more of pockets. These are the very small pockets. So I have a plethora of options right here at my fingertips, and I can't tell you the difference it makes. So we'll go more into that, and we'll talk more about those kinds of tips and just even the nuances of cutting paper, because you know me, I like to go into the details. The other tool going forward, again, I will cover all of that in that separate video, but you are going to see it in this one, so I may as well explain what it is. So I have a little collection of what are known as photo crops. These were manufactured commercially by Simple Stories, and they were called these little photo crops. So this is a circle. I've bought many packages of the squares, and I just sort of have them loose here because it's easier to reach. Whatever sizes they didn't include, I have made on my own as well, and I cannot encourage you enough to grab a set of chopping mats from the Dollar Tree. They come 2 in a pack. They're in the kitchen section, and they're a clear plastic chopping kitchen mat. And I use those for the photo crops as well as covers for many of my notebooks. Like here's an example. Here's half of a kitchen chopping mat I'm using as a cover for my Holy Habits book, so you can see. And you end up with a little extra on the side, and I keep those scraps and then eventually put them to work. So this one here is an A5 pocket card. I'm calling it an A5 because I bought these pockets that are rather unique. These are designed for an A5 ring-bound planner. So these 4 pockets are not the 3x4 that most of us are used to. These are actually kind of an odd size, and they make a lot of different kind of like ephemera that's sized for them, featuring a lot of Korean boy bands. If you're to trust Amazon, that's the example they show. So I then took this, I created a little crop, and I've been using it to crop down my existing 3x4 cards or photos or scrapbook paper, because I'm making now a very special size that will be able to slip into this smaller sheet. So I have a variety of different manufacturers of, these pockets. I have different types, the smaller ones. It's really hard to show you a pocket on camera, isn't it? Because they're transparent. But as I slip things into them, you'll be able to see them much more clear. So that's a very important tool with your pockets, your paper. And I would say, coming up with a very simple style would be really great as you get going. You can become more elaborate as you determine how you're feeling about things. I did decide that what I would more than likely do is I'm just going to use some really simple journaling labels from our shop and a date stamp. The journaling label, I'm kind of thinking this through. So I have the 13 prompts, and I was thinking that I would just write out on the journaling label what the prompt is. Now, in the future, we are going to create some very specific labels for this particular project. But until we do, I will just do it by hand and replace them later, or it's just a little backup idea if I decide to do it that way. That way I can, every time I flip a page in my little collection, I'll be able to know what prompt I'm actually looking at. So that is my plan for how I'm going to work through here. Now we're in week 1, so this is our official kickoff. And this week's prompt is a moment from my week. In this column here, ways to interpret this, I'm just giving you my ideas of how I would interpret that. You can interpret it or create for it any way you wish. How I kind of thought about a moment from my week is you could actually take a picture and use that as one of your, one of the elements that you scrapbook with, like memory keeping, or you could journal about a moment in your week, or you could use other elements to kind of visually show some moments from your week, which was what I opted to do. Finally, the other aspect of creating is you can just create a single pocket if you want. If you are very crunched for time right now, you could just make week 1 prompt just a single pocket. Just pretend that all you have to create for is that little square. Just one of these, and that's it. That's week 1. What was a moment from your week? You can jot it with pencil. You can do something very, very simple. And you can make this all week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. The important thing is just to be consistent with actually crafting. And if you miss a week because it just wasn't possible to do this, and that will be true for me too. I'm sure there's going to come a time where I just may not feel like it. I may not get around to it. The following week, just backfill. Go back and create a little rectangle or square for that particular week and go ahead and just make up the difference. Who's going to know? So that would be something I would encourage you to is don't beat yourself up if you get behind, but don't quit, because if you do get behind, you can just catch up by just make a single rectangle or square, and then it won't matter. So one last little caveat. I'm using this as an example. If you do not want to buy pockets, you're not into that, that's fine. Can I suggest possibly doing it this way instead? The look of pockets is really what I personally love, and you can mimic the look of pockets. Let's say this is a 4-up page, right? You're going to see a grid of 4. You can mimic the look of pockets using scrap paper backing, and then laying down your 4 elements. However, like these are 4 3x4 journal cards. So I've created the look of, and pretend it's an invisible pockets. This is invisible pocket crafting here. So it looks like you've tucked them into pockets, but you really didn't. Another common layout for pockets is where we have I think it's the 2 3x4s here at the top, and then there's a 6x4 at the bottom. That's another configuration that I see a lot. See what I'm saying? You could just glue it down, make yourself cut out a bunch of these kind of scrapbook pages and just glue journal cards to it. If you don't want to bother to purchase any, you never caught pocket fever, so you don't have pockets sitting in your stash and you're not really feeling it like, yeah, I need to go buy those. that's totally fine. I don't want to be an enabler either. I'm just saying there are other ways to achieve the look and the really fun. I mean, it's a really fun look when you think about it. It's like a fun grid of little designs. I'm just using these as shapes. These could be photographs. This could be a square of journaling. But you know what I'm saying? Like you're just creating a look as if you had pockets. So look, I made it my own little pocket configuration here. This doesn't exist, I don't think. So that would be another example. So that's another way to participate without actually having to purchase. I know a lot of us have lots of scrapbook paper in our arsenal, and I'm telling you, cutting paper into squares, rectangles, that's something you can easily do in an afternoon. You can even invite your kids, depending on how good they are with their scissors. You can ask your kids to help you. Cut up your stash and get you some squares. Mama needs some squares, kids. That's all you got to say. And I'm sure they would help you. All right, so I think that's all the tips and advice and the little caveats that I had in the beginning. I'm just going to jump in. Again, I'm really rusty. It's been a long time since I did anything like this back on camera again, but I missed being here, and I missed seeing the sweet little faces in the comment section. I'm so familiar with so many little names and faces that it just, I don't know, I just felt like it's time. It's time to go back. So I reset, as I am prone to do. I reset and I moved my channel back to the Reset Girl because that really is who I am. I reset all the time. So here we are, and we're gonna get crafty. I did work ahead because I knew I was gonna be doing this video, and I did do what I will probably end up doing in the future, is I sort of wanted to kind of gather some things based on my prompt, and I thought about my week, and I actually have been doing some rather crafty or creative things that I thought I could kind of visually show, kind of tell a story based on the full pocket page. So I am going to be using all four. I'm going to move that out of the way. And this is what we got. This is what I came up with. I wanted to kind of show mood. I'm also going to do a bonus pocket page because it's going to be kind of like my intro page. And it's very simple. I just whipped it up in Microsoft Publisher. I'll do that at the end. Right now, I just wanted to show you. I built a Pinterest board for the theme in our clubhouse right now, which is Harmony. It's what we're using as our winter theme. And I love building Pinterest boards for inspiration. So this is a beautiful theme. And I really wanted to kind of visually, experience my Pinterest board that I worked so hard on. So that is where I just came up with the idea of grabbing a couple of the pictures off of it. These were just real simple, like a simple photo. And so I have this little, what would you call it? A little vignette, if you will. Actually, I'm going to put that here. This is actually a sketch that I did. I'll just show you really quick because I'm sure I'll do this in the future because this is actually fun. I have been challenging myself. It's my own little mini challenge to me, trying to get myself to like get into sketching because I love the idea, but I never do it because I think most of us, when you start something new, you hate everything you do because you want it to be amazing when you start, but that's not real life. That's not how it works. So I have been challenging myself to sketch every single day, and hopefully by the end of this book, it will look a lot better. So this was my sketch last night. I was listening to a playlist on YouTube. I'm going to link that playlist in the description box because it is fantastic, and I want everyone to listen to it. If you like lo-fi music, this is going to be your jam. So this is the cute artwork. It's this adorable little, like a little camper, a little caravan with a guy in it, and he's kind of polishing his little coffee cup, and it's just adorbs. So here it is. I sketched it. I took a picture of it and then printed it out on photo paper so I could kind of crop it in kind of a fun way and then showcase that in my pocket that is a moment from my week. This is what my week looks like a lot too. On my bed, I do have a dark cover with light sheets, and every morning, me and Mr. Crafty are having a cup of coffee. So I just kind of feel like, yeah, that does resemble my week. And I also, color-wise, I love the idea of including this card. This color story is actually part of Harmony, so I feel like that's awesome. Plus, something really, really wonderful happened to me yesterday. That was just, it was a Godwink. It was a divine appointment. Literally, it just made my whole, I don't even know how to explain it. Sometimes it's hard to explain when something just miraculously wonderful happens to you. And I just felt like, this is Rhonda, by the way. I felt like Rhonda she just kind of encapsulated that for me, especially because it's got this word saved stapled on there. So I am going to use my little template here because her card is a 3x4. So I do need to cut it down, and I'm going to cut it here. So it's just going to hack off this side, which I'm going to keep because we keep strips of paper like that. Absolutely. And I need to wear my readers so I can see where I'm crafting. If you are a Gen Xer, I gotta tell you, readers make a huge difference in crafting. Not to mention reading, but they sure help with the crafting. It made a huge difference. I was able to see things so much more better when I'm like painting or doing like small work, I even wear something a little bit more magnified when I craft versus reading, almost like a 3 level, because then you can really see detail. So you can grab readers super cheap at Dollar Tree or Dollar General. That's what I would suggest, because crafting readers, I'm telling you. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. I have this extra little card, and I'm just going to cut it up because I grabbed it for the colors, and I wanted to cut out these little strips and kind of treat it like an embellishment. I'm going to put it on a totally different piece of paper, and that will be my final piece. I'm going to actually cut a different backing for it, and then I'll be done. Like, I was kind of thinking about this, how some of my weeks might be like very fast, and like how short of a video could I do? I mean, it's unprecedented. This channel doesn't do short videos, right? All my videos are super long. I wouldn't make it on those little short videos everyone's into now. The Instagram reel, the YouTube short. I think YouTube encourages you to do 39 seconds. And then there's TikTok, which, yeah, don't get me started with that one. But I just couldn't. I'm not meant for that. I'm not built for short form content. It is so stressful when I think about how would I say everything I want to say in such a tiny amount of time. So yeah, I think this is the YouTubes are more my speed, and you're just going to get a more depth, in any particular topic for the most part when you're on here. All right, so I whipped that one into shape. I just need to find a good background for it. I just felt like I wanted to do something a little more than just white. That needs more contrast. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so then I need my crop back. These crops are so funny. Because they're clear, they will disappear on your desk. So I put a little, kind of like a little Catbell, but it's visual on this so that I can actually see where it is. And I'm kind of thinking what I'm going to do. I should probably cut from the bottom. I'm just going to cut and shorten it so that the name and remarks is getting included on this. And now I just need to decide. Yep, it's pretty much just straight up. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so that was really quick too. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I'm out with my favorite glue stick. What did I just do? Corey Lane, I can't even believe I just did that. I totally glued the wrong element. Of course I did. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to have this on the back side. So next week, when I go to make one of these squares, it'll all be ready. It'll already be there. We're just going to make some lemonade here. Okay, so the back of this paper is pretty too. I really love this teal, and it's got kind of like this little wash, almost like a kind of a mixed media feel is going on there. And then I'm just going to trim this ever so slightly. This is what I meant to glue, but I guess that was pretty good, right? Crafting on your feet. Okay, so I'm going to zoom on that, and then this is where, because I have some white space on this particular card, this is where I'm gonna kind of put my label for what this whole thing is about. And I'm gonna leave it blank for now. I'm just gonna decide later how I want to handle this, because I haven't quite figured out how I want to label every one of my pages. So we'll just sit on that for now. Today is the 5th. And this will be that card, that I kind of use as the documenter. Maybe that'll be part of my formula, no matter what kind of page I do. If there's multiple pieces, one of them will be the documenter card. Okay, that doesn't want to go in. These little pockets are a little skinnier. It's like trying to fit your fluffy card into skinny jeans here. This card had a little too much fun over the holidays. Let me try that again. There we go. All right, that's what it needed. So I made these ones are kind of an odd size. I will link these particular pages in the description below if you are interested in getting yourself some A5 sized pocket cards. One thing I will say is these would be so fun if you were using a 6-ring bound planner. Is that what we call it, a 6-ring? Yeah. Like a ring bound planner. You could set up a really fun kind of dashboard, or every month you could change out the pictures, put pictures of your progress with your goals, favorite quotes. This could be really fun. You could even have a section of all of your fun little pockets that you're making and just include them in your ring bound planner. How about that? I have a ring bound planner. It's the Persimmon planner, the collaboration I did with Simple Stories. I have one that's just waiting for me. It might be what I use, but I'm kind of on the fence because I have other pocket pages and they're slightly bigger. So I'm kind of trying to decide what I want to do there with that. Color-wise, love this little color story. I might, let's see, looking at it, I look for, obviously this is very dark, right? And then you have these cards here that are kind of lighter. They are kind of carrying, they're kind of a nice contrast. And then you have 2 elements here that are darker and more eye-catching. So I just wanted to always give it a little look-see and feel like, is this balanced? Because that is the essence of harmony. It's this fundamental balance, whether it's music, whether it's art and color and pattern. You want to see harmony. And your eye, when we really develop that skill, your eye will just tell you, girl, this is perfect, right? It's what makes us feel like just like something's eye candy. It's because that thing, that object, that arrangement was done in a way that really created this beautiful harmony to your eye. I really feel it's a gift that God has given us, which makes us be able to appreciate beautiful things like sunsets and bird song and like a symphony, and it makes our heart. I mean, there's a reason why people love going to the symphony. Those type of musicians coming together and playing the way that they do, it's amazing. It makes our heart soar. And there's a reason. So I'm liking this little collection of 4 here. So I think I'm going to call that good. What I'm going to do off screen is this little white space right here. I think I'm going to do a tiny bit of journaling right there. So in an upcoming, if I get to the point where I have a few pages done and I do a quick flip through, hopefully there'll be something there, because that's what I'm thinking right now is I'll probably do that, is add a little journaling. And see, that's the kind of fun stuff that I feel like doing pockets or the grid, if you will. When you are using different elements, it's kind of fun to find ways to use them creatively, so they're not just a photo of something. In this case, this is kind of... I'm not really doing much. I'm not adding much embellishment. And now that I've said that, I think I'm going to add a little embellishment to this one. Just as I thought I was done, I am going to do that with this one. So I have this little collection here of little tiny... These are mostly like enamel dots and stickers that are more, three-dimensional. And in here, I have this little teeny tiny little, I think I got this from Moji. And it's little tiny glitter stars that I punched out with my little star punch. And they're quite magical. So I'm going to use my little craft tweezers because this is kind of how I figured out how the best way to use these guys. And kind of push them around on the surface of the glue stick. This is where craft glasses are your besties. And then I'm just going to kind of randomly place them because I love random. It's my favorite pattern. I just feel like this particular card just needs something a little quirky, a little weird. And the camera is just not doing justice. These little glitter stars are magical. So let me do that again. Oops. Spread it around. Now the third star. I'm going to put it on this little element here. And now it's really weird. Okay, so that's kind of a little extra something right there. I should probably wait till it dries, but nah. I'm both impatient and lazy. So I kind of just let it get pressed in there. So there's my teeny little collection of stars. I will include this little bit, including the little way I store all my little bits. I'll put that in that like tips, best practices kind of video for this project, because I don't think I would have thought of that. I've not seen anyone do it, but that doesn't mean that people haven't done it. I just haven't seen it. And maybe you haven't either and wouldn't have thought of it. So I just wanted to show you because it's a really cheap way of creating some really, I think, really cool little elements that are just very special. I think paper and punches are 2 essentials that every crafter should have. They are just magical. I think I want to do something with him. He's giving me like he needs something vibes. I just don't know what he needs though. It might be something I need to kind of like think about. It might come back to me in a moment. And that leads me to something I didn't think about earlier. Nothing you create in your pocket says that it has to be like done once you stick it in there. You might have a new crafting energy later on as you're flipping through and might have developed a kind of you know, a kind of like signature style or something you really enjoy, maybe a couple months from now it'll hit you. I don't think there's anything wrong with going back and kind of giving those pieces an embellishment later. If you're just not feeling it and this is the best you can do is just sticking some squares in the pockets, then just do that. You can always come back when you're feeling more energetic, more creative, and then add the little cute flourishes later. One thing I have really endeavored to want to put to use is my little craft sewing machine. The We Are Memory Keepers made that machine, and I bought one, and I think I've owned it for probably 4 years and have never used it. And I kind of feel like, hey, this would be that really great project to use it on. So I might come back and do that with some of these pieces after, like right here might be a good place to add a stitch, just saying, or a stitch here. I mean, that might be what I decide is as I sketch things is kind of leave that opportunity to add some stitching to the paper. So here's what it looks on the back side. This would be like week number 2. And I did mention I was going to make a kind of faux, like kind of, I don't know, like a hello, welcome to my pocket art collection. So I kind of wanted to make sort of like a title page. I whipped this up. This is a pattern I have in our arsenal of artwork, and I whipped up this little let's make pocket art and told Mr. Crafty, hey, I think that would make a cute little intro slide to the video series. So we'll see what happens with that. And I am just cutting this out. So this is what I'm saying, like pre-cutting, arranging digital art. You can determine the size ahead of time. You can crop it digitally so it's like perfect and you don't have to do anything to it. But of course, let me double check that before I'm sitting there making those claims. So there, that's all. But yeah, this one definitely needs some stars. It definitely needs something a little blingy. And then on the back side of it, because it has a back side, I was going to put that paper down. So I'm just going to cut that. I probably will not glue these back to back. I'll just let them sit and like both slide into the pocket together. And so I wanted to have this on the front, and then I knew this was going to be the back side. So we have a lot of black and white going on right here because of this sketch, and this kind of bothers me. So one of the things I considered is one of the pictures I took was this really cute pink wool coat. Oh, isn't that dreamy? That is a coat you'd wear like if you lived in New York City, or, well, maybe not Paris. That's a Paris coat to me. That's just like, oh, so cute, so fashionable. Now I kind of feel like it balances it better. Oops, slide that on down. Now I think it balances it better. And you may be wondering, why a coat? I kind of had a story in mind, in my head, about a coat and how a coat is like warmth. And there's many things that happen in life that make you feel like just very cozy, very warm, loved. You know, there's so many ways in which that happens. And I felt like this was an opportunity to tell that story. And because it's got this very light background, I wanted to write directly on the fabric, if you will. So I just thought of something. In the Holy Habits FaithBook, this is where I got the idea. This is actually one of my pocket cards I've made. I had this honey, you know, from a magazine, and I cut her out and I glued her down, and I actually wrote out a scripture from Exodus on her dress, you know, using her like a little notepad. And that, I loved that idea ever since. So when I saw this on my Pinterest board, I thought, hey, let me try that again and write directly on the little coat. So I'm not going to do that on camera, but I will do it later. I'm going to think through my thoughts on that coat and what does that mean? Is it scripture that I want to put there? Is it song lyrics? Is it just my own thoughts? Is it like a journaling spot? It kind of feels like it could be a journaling spot, you know, just kind of putting my thoughts down. Okay, actually I said I was going to make that blingy, so this one doesn't easily want to go in. I'm not going to do anything, I don't think, on this because the coat is so pretty. It doesn't have buttons. It's very, very simple. So looking at that together, I feel like that's okay. Maybe, I'm just going to try this. I really like things to feel balanced and not feel like this is pink and black and white, and so is this, because the background of my desk, you can see a little bit in the picture. Did I glue it in here? It does not want to come out. So I think I want to try just switching these two around and seeing which one looks better. Sometimes things just, they look different when you move them. Your eye is so interesting how our eyes rove around and how they see things, and that just might feel like a better balance. Yeah, I like that better. I do. I like that better. So I think I'm going to keep that. So that's kind of, this is my week 1 basically. And then here will be my little intro, but I want to give this a couple little. So here's some options. I could go with the gold and kind of like, almost like this little piece is sort of bolted down with these little gold circles, because I happen to have those floating around. So it could be like that. If I could get a little zoom in on that. And then I also have these stars. That could be cool. There's actually a really small set of stars on here. Let me try that. Which one? I'm so in love with the blingy, the gold, the glitter, that it just, I want to do gold glitter on everything when I do it. So there's either that, and there's nothing wrong with this. I don't hate this, not at all, but I kind of, are the dots better? I kind of sort of feel they are, but maybe that's because I am biased, because I love all the little sweet gold glitter. Oh, it's a tough call. And on camera, I'm not sure if it even reads as well as it does in real life, which is always the case, you know. Glitter paper just is that thing, but it just is, there's something so special about it. I can hear your little voices, go with the stars, go with the glitter. But I'm going to have to obey my instincts and just say I'm going with the glitter, because I really feel like the glitter is magical. It's so magical. Now, I would be amazing if I took the time to actually make a border of like little glitter circles around this rectangle, but I'm not. It's okay to be a lazy crafter. You're still a crafter. You just may not want to, you know, take the time to do all the things. Yeah, it'd probably be great. I'd probably be amazed with the results. But I think this, sometimes simple is better. Simple is more. So I'm afraid to try to stick this one in the pocket though. I think I'll let this one dry outside. So here we go. Here's my little intro pocket. So like when you open up whatever I end up doing, I'll probably make some type of cover eventually. I gotta really think this through. But this is sort of like a little flyleaf, if you will, a little like a welcome mat. Hello, let's make pocket art. And then you flip open and there's week 1 staring at you in the face. And I love it. I love all the pink. I don't know what happened to me. I was never a pink girl growing up. I never would pick pink. I would say I've always been yellow, has always been my favorite, but the blush pink I'm just so smitten with. Yeah, me likey. And I think I will end up doing some journaling here and some journaling on the coat, so it will look a little different in the future eventually. And then I might add something to this at some point. So it's kind of fun to see what will happen as I get going and I find my little flow and see like what captivates me, and then I'll end up adding it. And I want you to see that I have a very basic setup here. I didn't want to be all flashy and, have everything all figured out, because I don't think that's always realistic. And I didn't really want it to seem like it was this formal craft project, that it takes time sometimes for us to kind of get in our little, I kind of feel like it's a creative flow, and I think it's okay to let things just kind of be until they kind of, I don't know, you're going to know it when you see it, whatever you've decided. And like I said, if the pockets aren't doing it for you, or you just don't want to buy them, you can always do your pages just on simple scrapbook paper, and then just have fun building a kind of grid, kind of duplicating the look of the pocket page, because there is really something magical, I think, about these really small canvases. There's so many different types of pocket pages. I really do have a lot of options in my particular craft stash because I've bought so many types. These are the really small kind of like the tallest. They're like 6 inches by 4 inches across, and they have different, this is like the 3-inch squares. They have different configurations. So this is like one type of, they're vertical pocket pages from Simple Stories. These are like the little pages. These are small. And then you have the more full-size pages for the 6x8. I will link some that I have purchased in the past. There is also these fun little, they kind of marketed them as like an Instagram style pocket page, where they were just, I think a 4-inch by 4-inch. Becky Higgins doesn't, I don't think that's a brand that makes these anymore. I think they kind of gave up. But I do, like I said, I'll link everything I got. I do know that this is the newest company that I've purchased from, and I had not heard of them before. They do a lot of the like trading card pocket pages you'd put like in a full-size binder, which is one of the options I told you that you could do too, if you just wanted to do like a bunch of trading card sized artwork in a full page. But these little guys give you this adorable little look, but you can blend in all the different types of pocket pages together. And then at the end, we'll figure out how to bind them. It'll all work out. So I might actually steal some of these papers, because I was going to do something with this album and I didn't actually do it. So as far as I'm concerned, this is all free game. So this is just what I'm saying. Pre-cut paper, your best friend. That could take 20 seconds to put together. You're just searching for the paper. Love, 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 love this color story. Oh, scrumptious. I could steal this entire little pocket and throw it in here and pop some embellishments on a couple of them. So this just gives you that idea of what it could look like. You could pre-fill your pages if you wanted to. And just as you come to each little collection, kind of decide, well, what is it telling me it should be? What do I want to add here? So there's so many ways to adapt to this particular challenge, whether it's invisible pockets, or you just go through your stash and you're collecting, or grabbing a pack of the trading card pages that you can get like at Walmart, I'm sure Target, I said Walmart, and Amazon, good old Amazon. So those type of, like a full-size binder could work. But many of us fell into, the whole pocket page rage at one point. And if you just found that, did I just say rage? Is that the right word? A pocket page phase? What was I trying to say right there? Pocket page. I can't do it. If you have some suggestions of what you think I was trying to say there, I'd appreciate your thoughts in the comments below. But I hope that this is a helpful little start, I give you some ideas in there, of all of my little things, throwing them out. And I will put links down below to things I think are helpful, different pockets that I have found that we have kind of shared over the years, because I've been pretty consistent ever since I started buying the smaller pocket pages. Like, wow, these are so fun. So here is our chance all year long to put them to work and get the most out of them. So let me know in the comments below, what type of pocket pages will you be using? Will you be going with the invisible pockets? Or do you have in mind using up some in your stash? Do you have a particular format you're leaning towards? I would love to hear it. I'm really excited to see different works of art in the clubhouse. We have a special gallery. You can create your own album there and take pictures of your artwork and share it with us. And absolutely sharing it on social media is wonderful too. The hashtag is FLC Pocket Art. And then you will be able to invite people to come join us if they so choose. And just focus on little bits of art, working on little canvases to kind of give you a little creative avenue, a little outlet, if you will, that is not intimidating, that's small, that's very easy to complete, very simple, very flexible kind of prompts and rules, if you will, which really aren't rules at all. They're more like guidelines. So I hope that you have fun with this, and I can't wait to see all the great stuff that you guys create. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.